Howdy folks, and welcome back to another Britgrid intermediate blender tutorial. And today we're going to be carrying on with creating our building. In fact, it's a window that we're making at the moment. And today we're going to be adding some textures, doing some work with the texture nodes, material nodes. So let's get straight on with it. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to viewport shading, and I'm just going to click on display render preview. Probably, I think that's a good one to choose. And we need to enable some options. So in your scene window here, we're going to put a click in ambient occlusion. We're then going to go down a little bit to the screen space reflections. We're going to put a tick in there, and we're also going to click on the little down triangle, and we're going to put a tick in refraction as well. So just to keep things tidy, I'm going to just fold those back up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some materials. I'm going to create some new materials. I'm going to do that in object mode, I think. So we can go down to the material properties, click on that. Notice that I'm in object mode, as I say. So we're just going to click on the plus button, and we're going to call this one, just going to click on new, and I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to name this wall, the wall material. Then we're going to create another one. So click on the plus again, click on new, and just double click on the name, and this time we're going to call it frame, and we're going to create a material for each of our mesh pieces. So same again, we're going to click on one, a new one, and say new, double click, and this time we're going to call it glass. And then for the last one, we're going to click on the plus again, click on new, and we're going to call this material room, R-O-O-M, like that. So that's created our materials. Now what we want to do is, in edit mode, we want to start assigning some of this mesh, some of these mesh sections, to these different materials. In order to do that, I'm going to select a face and press L and just see what we've got selected there. Okay, so there's some bits that I don't want to be selected. So actually, let's work out how to do this a slightly different way, because I don't want that inner frame to be selected. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to press A few times. If I turn my screencast keys on, I haven't, have I? Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press A few times just to undo that selection. Just to make it easy easy for myself, I'm going to press the C button for the circle select, and I'm just going to run around the outside, including that bit there, and oops, and that bit there. I'm just right clicking to get out of the circle select mode, and I'm going to press C again. Oh, I'm not. I'm just going to press down on the shift key, and I'm just going to select these edges. So in other words, if I go to wireframe so you can see that more easily, the only bits I've got selected is the outside of the wall and possibly that's it, I guess. I don't think we need to select any more bits, so I'll soon see if I'm right or wrong. So I'm now going to assign these parts of the mesh to the wall material. So I've got the wall material selected, and I'm just going to click on the assign button like that. Okay, I can deselect what we've assigned, and just to make sure that it is correct and it has worked, I can click on assign it. No, I can't. Control Z that. Let's see if that works. I'm gonna deselect it. Let's see if that selection of that assignment has worked. So I'm going to click on select, and no, it hasn't, because it's selected everything. Okay, so let me try that again. So I'll deselect everything. Apologies for this. Right, so we'll select these sections. Luckily they're quite big, so it's not difficult to do. Get this one as well. No, we won't. Gotta get the right part of the mesh, not that one. Must be that one, that dot there. So you can see the little dots to signify where the centre of the face is. So now I just need to select those on the outside. I'm going to click on assign, making sure I've got the wall section selected, the wall material selected. Then I'm going to deselect them, and I'm just going to check to make sure that that's worked by I'm going to press select, and that hasn't worked, I don't think. Okay, we'll see. So let's go to let's select the frame area now. So I'm going to deselect everything by pressing A few times. Now I just want to select the window frame, which will be, it's actually this area here. So it's actually this bit. I think there's a face about there. This bit, and possibly that bit. That's a good guess. And possibly this bit. And I know that there's a face right under that dot there. So this is going to be part of our frame. In fact, there's an easier way to do this, and I'll show you what that is. So I'm just pressing my number pad 7 to go to top view. The easy way to do this is press B for box select, and then go up to the kind of top left corner, just select everything right down to almost the bottom right corner. Then we can shift click on these sections here, and we don't want the back face selected. Is it that one? Yeah, we don't want that one selected. So we're going to select frame and assign all of those with the assign button to the frame material. So assign. We're then going to click on the, don't quite know why I've got two glass panels there. We'll worry about that in a minute. But anyway, I'm going to select both those little kind of center dots, and I'm going to click on glass and say assign. Then I'm going to select the back panel. I'm going to go to room and I'm going to press assign. So hopefully that's done what we expect, and we can test it out in a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to viewport shading up in the display options up here, and I'm going to select the wall material. I'm just going to try and change the base colour. Let's see if that will work. We'll make it an orangey colour. That's worked. Actually, I seem to remember I've neglected to select this piece of this lintel of the mesh. So let's try selecting the frame. This is just a test to make sure we've assigned all the right areas. So the frame, I'm going to go to the base colour. I'm going to tweak down the setting, and we'll make that kind of darkish kind of stone colour, something like that. And the glass, I'm just going to go into wireframe mode so that I can get both the bits of glass. We'll delete one of those in a minute. But for the glass, what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the roughness, and we're going to set the roughness to 0, and we're also going to go to transmission, this one here, and we're going to set that up to 1. I'll just type it in there, 1. And if we scroll down just a little bit more, in this blend mode under settings, so I'll just fold down the settings. Blend mode, we're going to change it to alpha hashed, and we're also going to turn on screen space refraction, and then we're going to give it a depth, refraction depth of 0.01, and press enter on that. So I'm just turning over my notes to make sure I don't miss anything, so you'll have to bear with me here. So let's go back to our viewport shading. So you can see that we've got quite a nice reflection there. And the last one, we're going to select this section at the back, and we need to scroll up to the top a bit. That's set to room at the moment, that's fine. I don't think we actually need to do anything to that bit quite at this minute. What I will do is I'm going to hover my cursor over this part of the mesh and press the letter L just to make sure that's selected. Actually, I'm not. I lied. I'm going to go to frame and I'm going to say select. Then I'm going to I think that bit is still selected as well. Yeah, it is. So I need to assign that all to the frame again to make sure this part and the frame section is all assigned, so I'm going to press that to assign. And when we go back to our material viewport shading, we should see that this lintel has now gone that kind of dark colour. Now I did say that we had a problem possibly on the glass pane, so I just need to check on that to see what's going on with it. So we're just going to go back into edit mode. I'm just going to turn on my normals, so I'm going to go up to here to this, whatever this is, overlays. I'm going to click on overlays and I'm going to say show me the face orientation, and I'm going to click on that button there. Yeah, you can see that we've got some faces the wrong way round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to mesh, and then I'm going to go down to normals and say recalculate the outside. And you can see that our glass pane is not quite right. So I'm going to go back to wireframe. I think that's because, yeah, we've got a back panel on here that we don't necessarily need. Yeah, well, we do. We need to change that. We've obviously made a mistake there. So let's have a think about this. We can just bridge that area. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're in edge select mode. We're going to shift alt. No, we can't do that. That's annoying. So we're going to select all of these. Not that one. We're going to select all of these. See if we can get this to work. And we're going to select this bottom section as well. I'm going to have to do this twice. And we're going to say bridge edge loops. So edge, bridge edge loops. And we'll do the same on this one. So we need to identify which bit's gone wrong, which is this bit here. So we're essentially pressing Shift and Alt. Can't click on Shift and Alt. See if I can select all of these edges. That one too. We're going to do the same for this section here. So all of these edges. Obviously when we extruded it, didn't go quite right. And we're going to bridge those edge loops. So edge, bridge edge loops. There we go. Right, let's have a look at that and see how we're looking now. I'm going to go back to face select mode. Let's have a look in here. Okay, so let's just select everything, and we'll do mesh, normals, recalculate outside, which is fine. Now we might need to make sure, let's just turn off our face orientation, go back to the preview mode. So let's see if we can now select I think we might have done something crazy there. yeah, we've actually just destroyed our glass material, I think. So we need to put that back in. It's easy to do though. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this edge all the way round, and we're going to select this edge all the way. No, we'll do one at a time. We'll select this edge. I'm just doing Shift and Alt as I click on that. So we need to make a face there, which is going to be our glass. So we can just press the letter F, give it a face. So now we're going to do this one. I'm going to do Shift and Alt. I'm going to click so it gets the whole edge. I'm going to press F to fill it with a face. Now I need to select both those faces, and I need to go to glass and say Assign. So we'll just double check that we've got that right. So I'm just going to go to the front view. I'm going to press A to make sure nothing's selected. Not quite sure why. Okay, well there's got a bit of a gap there. Okay, we'll worry about that in a bit. I'm not too fussed about that. So we want to make sure that so wall we can say select. That looks fine. So deselect, frame, select. Actually that's fine. That looks alright. Deselect, I'll select glass, say select. That looks fine. Deselect, select the room, say select. That's fine as well. Just making sure that everything had a material assigned to it. Okie dokie. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into shading mode. So we can go up to the top here and just click on shading, and we're going to start adding in our texture, our image texture. So I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. So, and in fact, let me just make sure. So we want to select we want to select the wall. Actually, I'm going to show you, we'll hide some of this mesh so that we're only just making sure that we're dealing with the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select room. So I'm going to press on the select, and I'm going to press the letter H to hide it. Then I'm going to select glass and say select, and I'm going to press H to hide that. And I'm going to select, just click on frame and say select, and I'm going to press H to hide that. So now we're only dealing with we're only changing our wall texture, okay, because that's what we've got selected. So with that selected, what we can do now is I'm going to put my cursor into the shader window and do Shift and A, and it gives us a search. So I'm just going to look for environment texture. Don't want that. Let's try that. Shift A. We want image texture, so that's going to be under texture and image texture. I'll put the links to the textures in the description of the video, hopefully, so that'll make it nice and easy for you. Now I'm going to open, let's see where I am, let's see if this works. Let's go into my downloads in my textures folder. So I'm going to open Yeah, that didn't work. Okay, so I'm going to go to textures. I'm just going to find this texture. Oh, if you haven't got a preview, you can go to, you might be in vertical list, so I've just gone to this little checkbox and gone to thumbnails. Make sure you're on thumbnails, and it's very handy because you can makes it nice and easy to see. So we want this textures.com 1K albedo, so we can just say open image, and let's try that again. That one there, open image. Yep, I just got it that time. So, and now we're going to duplicate this, so we're going to go Shift D. We're going to click on the folder, and we're going to actually add in the ambient inclusion. Okay, so click on open image, and we want to mix these two together. So we're going to go to add, and we're going to go to shader, and we're going to look for a mix. We want to mix RGB. Let's search for it, so I'll just type in mix RGB. So we've done that now. I'll check something in the UV editor in a second as well. But what we want to do is we want to, I can find in my notes, we want to set it to multiply, and we want to set the factor value to 1, and we're just going to plug our colour in here, and plug that into the base colour. So you can see we've now got our nice brick texture, although there's a bit of funkiness going on here. So what we can do is we need to select these edges. So this edge, so Shift Alt, well, that's not working, so we'll just have to do it manually. I'm just holding down Shift, and then we can do Shift and Alt and click on this one, get all of those, and we're just going to mark those seams. In fact, we can do all of them. So I'm just going to go up to Edge and then do Mark Seam. And in face mode, I'm just going to make sure those are selected and press U and do Smart UV Project and say OK. And if we now go to the top one here in this little window, we can choose the UV editor, and I'm going to just scale those down a little bit. So I'm just going to press A to select them all, and then S and just scale it down a little bit. We'll see how that looks. Looks a bit funky actually. Might need to... Can I scale them down any more than that? Let's try that again. Scale it down a bit. I'm just trying to match the rough brick sizes so that it doesn't look quite so funky. Let's try rotating that. I'm going to press R to rotate the control key, and I'm just going to rotate that round like that. What does that look like? That looks kind of strange. We've got two long sides. maybe it was right in the first place. Let's rotate that back again. Press Control, rotate it back so it's square. Seems very squashed. Yeah, let's scale it. Let's scale it in the. We'll try it in the Y direction. So press S to scale, and then press Y, and then we'll. Okay, so that's a bit better. And maybe I'll try rotating that again. Rotate. Half rotate. Control. Try move it around so it's straight. That's actually not looking too bad now. So, although the short ones there look as if they're going the wrong way, so what we can do is we can go to face select mode. We can just select those two faces. I'm going to click on shift. I'll make that a bit bigger so you can see. I'm just going to rotate those. So, and I'm going to rotate them around the median point, which is this one here, median point. So we can press R to rotate, hit Control, and just rotate them round. And how's that looking? Not looking too bad. The scale might be a bit wrong on those. Let's scale those down a little bit. Or scale them up a little bit. And maybe we need to scale them in the X direction. Scale in X. Just trying to get the brick sizes so it's about the same size as the others. Let's try scaling that down a little bit. Okay. It's not too bad. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in our roughness. So we can select one of our textures. We can do Shift D to duplicate it. This time we're going to load in the roughness value, so I'm just going to click the cross, go back to Open, go into my Textures folder, and we'll find the roughness, say Open Image. Now I'm going to add in a colour ramp here, so I can do Shift A to do a search. I'm going to type in COL for colour. I've got colour ramp. Just going to drop that down there, and I'm going to connect in the colour to the factor like that. And then I'm going to connect the colour into the roughness. If I can find where the roughness is, it's probably up a little bit somewhere. Having difficulty seeing it. Roughness, there it is. So colour into roughness. And now we can play with this colour ramp to give us a nice effect on this brickwork. And to do that we can bring down and bring up our, just move these two slightly closer together, and we can look and see, probably not so noticeable. We want some effect there, but we don't want it to be overpowering. Just want a nice, so something like that maybe. So now what we're going to do is we're now going to add in our normal map. Not all of these are we going to use, but I'm going to select this roughness map. I'm going to Shift D it to duplicate it, click on the cross, click on open, go into my textures, and this time we're going to choose the normal map. So we can click on normal map, say open image. Then we're going to, with the cursor in this window, do Shift A again, because we need to look for a normal. So I'm going to do, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Shift A, do search, normal map. So we're going to stick that down there. We're going to change the texture input color to, let's put the color into the color. It's set to linear at the moment, which I believe is meant to be fine. Space to linear. Yeah, that looks good. Color space. Oh, color space linear. We've got to go to this bottom box and change it to linear. And then we can, if we just move this down, we can just click on the normal and connect it to the normal. And I believe I'm going to set that to UV map as well. So we'll see how we do on that. And I'm well aware that we're getting on a bit. So I'm going to go back to my material view, my modeling view. Just going to go into this. That's looking rather good, isn't it? And I'm just going to mesh and go to mesh and then go reveal it. Just go back into object mode. So I'm just going to save that. So I'm going to do file and save. And I'm going to, because I'm well aware that the time's getting on a little bit, so I think we'll draw this session to a close. So I'm going to thank you all very much for joining and hopefully following along, and ask you to give it a like if you've found this tutorial helpful, and keep your eye on the Britgrid Intermediate Blender class YouTube channel. That's quite a mouthful, for updates and new content. So until next time, you take care and bye for now.